And it looks like we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of your favorite show, Deep Fat Fried. You looking for TJ?
Where's the fuck TJ at, man?
He died.
He died.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's taken his 17th anniversary of the time that he smelled a rose petal with Chelsea.
Yeah, for sure. We actually had a talk with TJ because we've made our schedule in such a way that we can take fucking vacations. Like, we have some time off built into our schedule, and this is TJ's fucking third vacation in a month.
Yeah,
that hasn't been part of the vacation schedule. It's like his vacations just keep popping up randomly on times we're supposed to be working. So this, I think, is the first episode, main episode of Deep Fat Fry. There's only two people.
I think so. I mean, maybe not. No, I think you're right. I think we've done some other ones where it's but they've been special episodes.
We've done some old grease traps were two people, and flash fried back when that was a thing. We've done a couple of two people things. We haven't yet done a two people onion nugget. But we might explore this type of thing in the future.
Yeah.
We've heard from people, and we notice it too, that there's a different vibe if there's two of us rather than there's three of us. So you guys get Scooter and the Hog vibe today.
Yeah.
Because it's a live episode, I just thought we could banter a little bit here with the patrons and see what's up.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Well, I'll tell you, I had a pretty eventful fucking week, dude, because I've got medical marijuana in Louisiana, which I didn't really know existed until my stepdad Steve got it.
That's crazy. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I knew it existed. I just thought it was so hard to get that it was pointless.
It was at first, but they changed the law where now a physician for any condition can recommend that you get it. And believe me, dude, the fucking cast of characters I saw at the one dispensary they have in the Shreveport area, it's an eclectic group of people for sure. It's there was this musclehead dude that's all yeah, man, I've got real bad insomnia, bro. That's why I need it. Just telling everyone, I've got insomnia. It's right, dude, me too.
Yeah, me too, man. Trouble sleeping and muscle soreness all the time, man. I need weed. Now that's usually the way it goes. It's actually a good sign because that's how, California started at the very beginning with pretty restrictive medical weed.
Right.
And then slowly but surely it kind of became kind of a wink and a nod. I want to smoke weed, so let me go to the doctor and get a prescription for it. And then that led to legal rec. Dude, legal recreational weed would go over so fucking well in Louisiana.
100%.
Can you imagine just the tourism alone factor? If they Bourbon Street had a bunch of weed shops and voodoo weed, this and that.
I'd be down there. I would visit it more. I'd visit New Orleans more if there was. I mean, they have people trying to steal you weed on Bourbon Street, but just having a legitimate means of buying it. It's Vegas did it. I mean, I don't know what the hotel's policies are. I'm sure they're probably kind of strict about can't just go to a casino and light up a joint. But I mean, it's legal in Vegas. It's legal in Nevada. I mean, the whole West Coast is legalized weed in some form.
Yep.
Which, I mean, that makes me happy. The rest of the country just needs to get the West is just ahead of the curve. I mean, I'm just happy I can get this shit now, dude, because I mean, there's no point in it being illegal.
And I mean, you sent a couple of pictures yesterday I was looking at.
Yeah.
It looks pretty legit too. They're giving good weed.
You know where it's all grown? LSU.
Really?
Yep. They're the one place authorized to grow it. LSU grows all the weed for Louisiana.
Damn.
That's legal. I'm sure they're going to open up eventually to more stuff. I mean, it almost actually recreational weed. A lot of people don't even know this almost passed in Louisiana. It came one vote away from advancing. So it's it's one of those issues that does get bipartisan support, even because the guy that sponsored it's from Mandeville. So right. I mean, Paul, you've been to Mandeville. It's not a fucking it's a conservative as fuck. So for them to be able to do it is good. And dude, I mean, California, you're right. When we actually all met up for the first time, you had to go get everyone pot because you're the only had a medical card for California. That's before they had opened it up to recreational.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to do the weed runs and stuff.
Yeah,
and now,
nefarious weed.
yeah, now there's like no reason to do that in California. Everybody can go to whatever shop they want. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I had one of the most intense mushroom trips I've ever had yesterday.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I decided around like noon or something that I was just gonna drop a fat dose. And my guy that hooked me up with these mushrooms had warned me, like, yeah, me and my wife tripped on these and they're real heavy, dude. And I was like, no, man, you shouldn't have told me that, because I did more than I usually do. And man, it was a crazy trip. It was absolutely nuts. It started off negative. It was a bad trip through about the first half of it, because it was just like every negative thing that I feel about myself was being put in my face. Like I was looking at myself. I'm like, oh, you're fucking disgusting. It's like looking at my feet, and I was disgusted by my feet and my hands and everything. And it just got more and more negative. And then all of a sudden it was like all of that went, and it was like a happy trip for the rest of the ride down. But man, that middle part was like a storm, man. It was crazy closed eye visuals with the fractals and I was trying to find something to distract myself from hating my own meat body. So I was like trying to find music and everything. I was just like, ugh, get it out of here. Like the mushrooms are just like, nope, you're going to go through this. You're going to experience this trip all the way through the way we intend. We, the mushrooms.
We, the mushrooms, have decided your fate. Please. Too bad.
Just the way it is with mushrooms, though. A lot of people don't understand that, and that's how people end up having like really bad trips. But luckily, I've been through that before. But this one was tough. But I feel good. As a depressive,
that's how psychedelics are.
It reboots your serotonin production and stuff. I woke up this morning feeling better than I have in weeks and weeks.
That's good, man. I mean, honestly, psychedelics, like that's what people don't realize about it. It's like, I don't want to make it like seem like I literally believe this, but it's like exercising the demons kind of thing. It's like if you're like an anxious person, because I have a lot of anxiety and I've tripped and I have like, oh my god, life is fleeting. All this existential shit will go on with you. But you're right. Usually, if you just ride it through, then the trip is usually fine. It's just like people that have the super bad experiences, or people I don't think that have really dealt with a lot of the inner issues that they have going on subconsciously that are suddenly going to be shoved to the forefront of their consciousness, where it's like, whatever you have, well, it's like, in Star Wars, whatever you take into the cave is what you're bringing with you. Whatever you have up here is going to come out if you do psychedelics.
That whole scene is such a psychedelic reference, you know what I mean? Because it really is like what a big dose of psychedelics will do to you. It just puts you in front of you. And it's this is how you spend your day. This is what kind of person you are. This is how you perceive yourself, let alone how you're perceived by others. It's what you look like and smell like and feel like, and what it feels like to be inside of your body, and what it feels like to be in your brain. And it's just, man, it's not an easy thing to look at, especially if you haven't done it in a while, like I hadn't. So, but I feel good today. I'm in a good mood.
And that's perfect, man. I mean, like, dude, sometimes, like I said, you got to exercise the demons. Someone in the chat said, last time I dropped acid, I had a real bad trip. Haven't been able to do it since. There is so many conditional things to doing that kind of stuff that, you got to be careful with. You got to have someone to babysit you, for one. Because if you do it solo and you have this bad experience and all this bad shit comes out and you have no one to be like, it's all right, I'm not fucked up and you're all right.
Because obviously there to reassure you.
Yeah, you need that. That's super important with any sort of thing that's going to alter your perception. If you don't have anyone else there to make sure you're okay, that is going to be able to reassure you, and someone you trust, is like, if it's someone you don't know, it's not going to reassure you. Trust me.
Yeah. Or somebody that's just an asshole that takes glee in fucking with you. You don't want to do that at least not on your first trip. But yeah, tripping alone is always a bad idea, and at least alone with nobody else in the house. Amelia doesn't really partake in psychedelics and stuff, but she was here to reassure me at the peak of it that I wasn't turning into a fucking part of the floor or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'm becoming the floor, Paul. You're not the floor. I'm the floor.
I'm like, you're not the floor.
Oh, I know, dude. Like, I remember I took some mushrooms and I was on a couch and I'm like, it's the most comfortable couch. And it's like, but I couldn't get out of the couch. I'm like, but it's part of me.
The couch I am the couch, man.
My buddy's like, you're not, man. You're not part of. Yes, I am. like withering, like rolling around for like 20 minutes, and finally it's like, I guess I'm not.
Yep. I had all these deep thoughts about like, because I guess I had just watched like some Stoned Ape Theory, Terrence McKenna shit a couple of days before. And so I was having all these deep thoughts about like ancient man having the same experience I'm having, how they would interpret it differently. Like I was babbling to Amelia while I was peeking, and I was like, you know, if I didn't have like a basic training in science, like a basic education in what was going on and like chemicals and brain chemistry and stuff, I'd have a religious experience right now. I'd believe that this was God showing me something, man. She's like, okay.
Probably.
Okay, honey.
All right. Well, dude, that's like if you do like ayahuasca, which is similar to DMT. You know, if you do like those trips, I mean, like people have reported like the craziest shit from DMT. Like I met the elves. Like people see similar things.
That's one of the reasons I haven't done that type of psychedelic ever and may never, is because almost everybody that does it, the people that I've talked to, the people that talk about it online, they talk about one aspect of it being like you meet some other being, and I'm like, dude, no.
Yes.
I don't want to meet anything that's on the other side or fucking in some other dimension, man. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Hello, Paul. It's like, nope.
Like it's hard enough taking a psilocybin dose and being faced with yourself. You know what I mean? Imagine something that you'd coming out of it all. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Apparently there's places in California where you can microdose DMT though. So maybe one day if you feel like you don't give a shit about that anymore, you can do a little microdose of it and see how that treats you.
I would like to do like an ayahuasca experience that's because they have some that aren't like shamanic or whatever. They're actually therapeutic, where they will have people there and you do it with other people as well. So other people are going through the experience with you. And they, you know, make sure you're safe, and they moderate it, and they calm people down if they freak out. I want to try and find a place that does that. I remember watching like a little documentary about a place, I think it was in Kentucky of all places, that somehow has found a loophole to legally have this like ayahuasca retreat. And it's filled with people who are like trained RNs who watch over the people while they trip, and then psychologists or psychiatrist, whichever one it is that talks to people. I think it's psychiatrists that talk to people.
Yeah, it depends, but yeah, either one could.
But yeah, they've got people like that are guiding people through their trip, not in like a mystical way, but just
but like
reassuring way. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That sounds cool. Honestly, yeah, like if I was gonna do it, I would be more down to do something like that. Like I don't want some shaman shit because I don't believe any of that stuff. Right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I understand the universe is greater than me and I'm a small part of it. And there's some interconnectedness that you know, like I don't get because I'm a little fucking shaved ape on a, tiny speck.
Sure.
But, like, I don't think there's any theory that's going to be positive or said toward me that it's going to really change my mind, So it's like, I just want to I want to have the experience. But yeah, I agree with you. I want it from like more of a, just the standpoint of I want to experience it for what benefits it's going to give me, because I do think it is therapeutic. I agree with you on that.
I want the introspective part of it. Like I don't want somebody filling my head with like gods and stuff. Like I'll do that on my own. You know what I mean? When you get to a certain point, like I took a big enough dose of mushrooms that the peak of my trip was ego death.
Right.
Where I was basically meditating out of my mind. I was just absolutely in a place where like Paul didn't exist anymore. And I was just a little tiny speck of blank consciousness kind of floating in a fractal void. And I got very calm and quiet, and my eyes were closed. My breathing was very slow and deliberate. And I sat like that for probably like half an hour where I just didn't exist. And when I came back up out of that, oh my fucking God, I felt like a king. It was like being back in your body was amazing. And I walked outside and everything was, because I was still tripping. It was just on the come down.
Yeah.
And everything's vibrant and beautiful. And like, even in this, shitty little neighborhood I live in.
Dude, the come down, like people always like talk shit about that part of the trip to me. It's like, oh man, I just want to be high. It's like, no, man, usually the come down's like the best part because you get to have that fucking amazing experience. So it's like, and then maybe it's anxiety or other things, and maybe not. Maybe you just feel great. But then you just get like this very like mellow, like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I feel really good.
There's this really distinct feeling when you take that heavy dose and you have that ego death happen that you've been shown something though, that you've seen something that is around you or part of you but you don't get to experience all the time. There's a real distinct feeling of that, even if it's not true. It leaves you with the impression that you've been somewhere that you usually don't go. It's fucking. I can sit here and talk about it all fucking day. The human brain is amazing.
It is.
Its capacity for creating narrative and stuff. It's horribly dangerous, but it's wonderful as well. It's crazy.
Oh man, there's so many ways to go about it too. It's like it was on Joe Rogan talking about the deprivation tanks and shit. It's like, it's like you can just be there and like your mind is like, I'm bored, dude.
Dude, I want to try one of those. When we were in LA the last time, I thought about trying to find a place, but we were just so fucking busy and tired in between all the shooting we were doing.
Oh God, yeah, that was a hectic schedule. But dude, yeah, I would love to do it too, man. It's because I agree with you. It's like, there's so much going on inside your head that you don't even fucking think about or don't even realize. Like, because you think you're a lot of people make this mistake, especially when, like, you're young. It's like, my conscious mind is me. It's like, that's part of you, but it's not all of you.
Right.
There's so many things, and like, and a lot of it goes back just the evolution, the tree of life. It's like there's instinctual things you will do. It's like if you're presented with like a stimulus that's like, oh, it's bad for me. Are you gonna run away? Are you going to fight? Are you going to freeze? Are you going to fawn? I mean, what are you going to do? There's all these different reactions you can possibly have, because people don't realize that it's like, you might say, hey, I might fight somebody, or I might fawn over them. You're like, oh, if you hit me, oh, well, it's good that you hit me because I was being a fucking idiot. There's so many different actions that we have that, are instinctual that we don't even, really come to terms with. And like, I don't think it's in our everyday lives because we just get caught up in like, oh, I got to do this job, or I got to fucking pay this bill, or I got to have this other thing.
I feel like maybe you'll disagree with me, but I feel like most people living in what we'd call like the modern world, the Western world, are overstimulated to the max. I think there's too much shit.
Oh God, yeah.
Too much light, too much distraction, too many people, too many things, too many gadgets, too many noises, too many responsibilities. I feel like people are just packed full, and a lot of them don't even know it. And it's like slowly winding up this spring inside of them that, once it gets to a certain point, it's going to fucking break. That's how people have these like, nervous breakdowns and shit. It's not always just people who traditionally have been diagnosed or suffer from mental illness that have those. There are people that are completely mentally straight that'll just, that fucking spring inside of them gets wound up, and being able to release the tension of that and shut out everything else. That's got to be fucking amazing.
Dude, I don't know how I could disagree with you about us being overstimulated. I mean, there's just so much that you can do. There's so many distractions. There's so much technology. There's a screen everywhere you look. I mean, I think we're way overstimulated. I don't think there's any denying it. Like, our brains have not changed significantly in 50,000 years.
True.
So, I mean, how the fuck? I mean, the best science we have is like, I'm sure it is changing for sure. I mean, that's how evolution works. But like, it's changing at such a slow rate. I don't see how we can possibly not be, because like our ancestors 10,000 years ago weren't dealing with all this shit. You know what I mean? Different threats, of course. I mean, they had more of an existential threats, I would say, on an everyday basis. Like, oh, we don't have any food, we're gonna die, we're gonna starve. It
was just far simpler. It was far less stimulating than what we deal with now. And I've got to think that just the way things are in your house probably fucking is negative. You know what I mean? Everybody's house, just having so many things that are there to distract you and provide visual and audio
I hate
input.
Shit, dude. I hate having shit. Like, that's like one it's like me and Taylor deal with, where it's like, she's like, let's have this stuff, especially when we first got together. I'm like, I don't like a bunch of stuff. I told her, it's like, I live a very Spartan existence. I don't want all this shit to distract me, because I'm like, I have ADHD bad. So it's like, I see a shoe and I'm like, why is that shoe there? Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of the things we're very common. We have in common is we both are very Spartan people when left to our own devices. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't need it, I pretty much don't have it. You know what I mean? If I'm left to my own device, if it's not something I absolutely need to get by, then I don't really have it. Maybe a few things here and there, but I remember seeing your room back when you were single and you and TJ were still living in the same place. I remember your room just being kind of like this. The monolith in the center of it was your computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had your computer room, and that was set up very much like the only thing in here is my computer. And then your bedroom was just a bed and a couple of little dressers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a dresser. Like I had one poster, Metallica poster,
Yeah.
kind of hung up. That was about it. I had a closet, and then my bathroom was the same way. Like I don't know. Me personally, I just think there's people get too obsessed with stuff. Like I see like commercials for like Home Goods or these other stores. I'm like, this is a bunch of shit you don't need and you don't want, and it's all just crap. You don't
Yeah.
need all this stuff in your life. Like
Well,
now,
getting married, you have to kind of acquiesce some of that stuff, I think.
oh
Kind of like,
god,
all
yeah.
right.
I mean, because Taylor definitely wants to decorate the house. I mean, she's not like obsessed with getting stuff, but it's like there has to be decorations. Like she ain't gonna accept a Spartan wall. Now
Sure.
TJ's the opposite of me. You've been to TJ's house too.
Oh my
He's like
God.
me and him could not be more opposite. So living together was always difficult with us when we lived together. Was cause like you just have walls and walls of books and other shit. And I don't mind the books really so much, but just
Knickknacks and posters and little doodads and
I'm like,
shit.
what is
Yeah.
this? And he's like, oh, I like it. I like all the stuff. But some people find the opposite. They find comfort in the stuff being around them.
Right. The maybe having all those distractions around them is comforting in some way. And maybe it's comforting to everybody in certain situations, but I just think as an aggregate, it's probably bad for all of us.
Oh yeah,
Not
I have
just
to
the
agree.
stuff in your house, but just the stuff. You know what I mean? The weird responsibilities of life and other people's needs and other people's bullshit, and then fucking all the entertainment and crap that we do to distract ourselves is just more stimulation. Anyway,
Really agree.
so because of that mushroom trip, I had a really hard time thinking about an episode for today because what was stuck in my brain was Amber Heard and Johnny Depp for some reason. Like I just kept every time I thought about like let's do an episode Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and I'm like, well, Scotty's already working on that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And number two, I don't want to pull that. And so eventually I landed on just a like stupid, frivolous, ridiculous lawsuits. And there's a ton of them. I got a ton of them that we can just kind of go quickly over each one. But I wanted to start with one that people have a lot of misconceptions about. People hate frivolous lawsuits. They love to hate them. It's become kind of like entertainment to sit around and bitch about like the most frivolous of lawsuits. And there's one real example that I think probably everybody's heard of because it's become urban legend, basically.
Right.
The McDonald's hot coffee incident, which I could swear to God we've talked about some point on the show. But
I mean, I'm sure we have. But the thing is, too, about this is that just like frivolous lawsuits in general are just, I mean, like, it's definitely like corporate propaganda. Because, I mean, sometimes, and I'm not saying there's never been a frivolous lawsuit. There's plenty of people who have, like, oh, my back, give me $1 million. But a lot of this one, and this one in particular, is like a famous example of that, where it's like people like always attack the person that filed the lawsuit, the woman that did the lawsuit.
Right. And so that's where we're going to start today. We're going to start talking about the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, which by the time I heard about it, it was like, here's how I heard it. And I bet you heard it probably the same way.
Almost certainly.
Some dumb bitch went to McDonald's and ordered a coffee, and then she was driving down the road and spilled it in her lap, and she burned herself, and now she wants to sue McDonald's for like $30 million.
Exactly. Like it was just some idiot and they deserved it. And why would you sue for coffee? Like a little coffee spilled on your lap and you want a bunch of money? You're greedy. You're a piece of shit.
And it's one of those things that we've all done. We've all spilled coffee on ourselves at some point. We didn't sue anybody over it. And so we just feel like this is ridiculous because that's what we hear. Even in the media, that's kind of how it's presented. And that it escapes into the world. And it's kind of like there was a lot more person-to-person transfer of information back when this happened. This happened in 92. And so the internet had not become a thing yet. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't, widely used. There was no social media. That was just a dream and, at somebody's mind, Mark Zuckerberg's mind, maybe not even his yet. So in 92, February 27th, this woman named Stella Liebeck, she was a 79-year-old widow. She was the passenger in her grandson's Ford Probe, and she was ordering a value meal through the drive-thru window of an Albuquerque, New Mexico McDonald's. There were no cup holders in the Ford Probe, and the interior surfaces were all sloped. So her grandson pulled into a parking spot after they got their order. so that she could take the top off of her coffee and put cream and sugar in it.
Right.
So she put the cup between her knees to steady it as she tried to get the top off. After that, her grandson says she just started screaming. So the coffee had spilled in her lap, her crotch and legs and in her thighs and shit, resulting in second and third degree burns over 16% of her body. So she spilled the whole cup somehow.
And she's sitting, so it's like
she's
there's no
sitting in it. There's no.
go.
She's seat belted in, so there's no way to quickly get out of it, and it's in her clothes anyway. So that you can't get out of your clothes. You know, she's just burned to shit.
Oh my God, especially in such a sensitive area too.
Horrible area to have burns. I'm a nurse, and I was horrified by the type of injuries that she sustained, said Liebeck's daughter-in-law, Barbara Liebeck. So there's this documentary called Scalded by the Media. And it shows that although the original Albuquerque Journal article about the trial ran at 700 words, so it was a real quick blurb, subsequent pickup and wire service articles were far shorter and left out any important details that were in the already pretty short news bulletin about this that ran in the actual local paper. And so everybody picked it up, but they started omitting things like she's 76 years old and the coffee was over hot enough that it gave her third degree burns.
Yeah.
And that
so
she's claiming
different.
And that she's claiming that the lid was not on it properly or didn't fit it properly, and that caused it to splash into her lap. Those sort of things were omitted from the story, and it became woman wants to sue McDonald's because she spilled coffee on herself. That's basically the news story that ran, and then people ran with that, and it became just like a national meme. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. I've got a video of a news bulletin about this that shows, because I really couldn't find any of those old news shows,
right?
Like them saying, "Oh, woman," but I found a video that another news agency was able to compile one, so we'll take a look at that. So basically, this woman became chum in the ensuing media frenzy. She was just turned into this stupid, greedy bitch that nobody could pick out of a crowd. Nobody knew she was an old lady. You know what I mean? And nobody knew that the coffee was way too hot to safely serve to somebody.
Crazy. So a giant corporation is serving a dangerous product all over America. And the first story is pretty accurate. And then the subsequent ones picked up by affiliates are just totally changed into like dummy spills coffee, wants lots of money.
Right. So here's some quotes from different people, and we'll see some more down the road. CBS News correspondent Andy Rooney said this: "I've been thinking of quitting work here and suing big companies for a living instead. Suing has become a popular American pastime, and I'd like to get in on some of that easy money."
Hey, can we pour the hot coffee on his ball sack and see if he feels the same way?
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh, no big deal. Oh, here you go. Ah! Do you want to sue now, bitch?
Yeah. Talk show host Craig Ferguson said, "Every minute they waste on this frivolous lawsuit, they're not able to waste on their other frivolous lawsuits. Oh, my coffee was too hot. It's coffee." Ha 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 ha. Big, it was just like a big joke. Jay Leno said, "Now the woman claims she broke her nose on the sneeze guard on a Sizzler salad bar bending over looking at the chickpeas." So he's like claiming that she's...
What is that joke, Jay Leno? Get the Sizzler? Come on, bro.
Yeah, she's suing Sizzler now because she broke her nose while she was looking at the chickpeas. Even politicians got in on it. John Kasich, former presidential running guy that kind of just like never made it anywhere close and dropped out pretty early.
Wasn't he the governor of Ohio?
Yeah.
John Kasich, yeah.
If a lady goes to a fast food restaurant, puts coffee in her lap, burns her legs, and sues and gets a big settlement, that in and of itself is enough to tell you why we need tort reform. Got it. So public opinion was swayed. During man in the street interviews for the documentary Hot Coffee, one woman said of Liebeck, "People are greedy and want money, and they'll do anything to get it." And another man said, "The woman purchased the coffee and spilled it on herself. It wasn't like McDonald's employee took the coffee and threw it on her." So it's now understood that McDonald's was in the wrong with this, that their lids were prone to popping off of their fucking coffees in dangerous ways. And they were serving the coffee at like 200 degrees.
What?
Like 100, between 190 and 200 degrees.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Which is, by the way, the same temperature that your radiator is running at in your car if you've been driving for about an hour. About 200 degrees. So she basically sat on a car radiator and wasn't able to get off of it for 30 seconds before it cooled down enough to stop burning her. And by that time, it had done horrible damage to her. So it's known that she wasn't some money grubber. She also didn't ask for anything like $30 million. She asked for what Medicare didn't cover, which was about $4,000. Or sorry, it was $40,000. So $40,000 medical bills is all she wanted McDonald's to pay. That's all she asked for. Now, she ended up getting awarded by the jury damages in recompense. A lot of people think it was millions of dollars, but it was actually reduced to about $400,000. So that's what she ended up getting. She was 79 when it happened. What was that?
I said, I wonder why she got that. I mean, because it was such an open and shut case that, like, these people said, right? McDonald's did nothing wrong.
Because people on the jury had to look at pictures of this woman's whole crotch and vagina burned off. You know what I mean? And she never, according to her friends and family, she was 79 years old. She died at 92, I think. And they say that she never really bounced back after that injury, that it was so long to heal and so hard for her to heal because she was so old when it happened, that while the injury itself eventually healed up, she never got back all of her mobility and all of the energy that she had prior to that. I mean, she went through a really traumatic ordeal. I mean, being 79, I mean, you get all these injuries, even like when the injuries heal as best they can. I mean, like, she was probably laid up for a long fucking time. And she's 79. You can't really, it's super hard for someone that age to get back on their fucking feet and do shit. Right. So we're going to take a little look at this. I don't know if we'll watch all 6 minutes of it, but the first few minutes are pretty good. They show some, old clips from the news like I was talking about.
A jury in Albuquerque has awarded almost $2.9 million to a woman scalded by a cup of McDonald's coffee.
In 1994, an Albuquerque jury awarded 79-year-old Stella Liebeck nearly $3 million for burns she suffered from a cup of coffee. Coffee she bought at this McDonald's across the street from the base. It didn't take long for the story to spread across
we can't see it, Paul.
And around the world.
Yep. I saw it for a second, but yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Must be because I clicked off of it. Okay, no worries.
The story.
I mean, it seems frivolous. It seems like it should have been common sense that if you spilt hot coffee on yourself, like, that was your own fault.
I think she won her case and won a lot of money.
The summary of that story to me is...
Yeah, sorry, I didn't switch over the thing.
For a bunch of
that's all good, man.
Well, we'll just see if we can't get around that.
In the years since, the case became the stuff of pop culture.
Pardon me. Excuse us.
And Stella Liebeck became the poster child for frivolous lawsuits. She even had an award for frivolous lawsuits named after her. More than 20 years after the spill, Toby Keith is still singing about it.
Jesus getting smaller, spill a cup of coffee, make $1 million.
As the story
what a fucking hick.
Spill a cup of coffee, make $1 million.
Was a woman with...
So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to show you, because we've talked about the rest of what they talk about in here, how horribly she was burned and how everybody was wrong about it. But I just thought you'd enjoy some media from that time. People just making fun. So let's talk about some lawsuits that, in my opinion, are actually pretty fucking ridiculous. Let's start with this first one. So in 2011, a woman named Jennifer Connell was attending her nephew Sean's 8th birthday party. So Connell was walking into the backyard, and upon seeing his aunt, Sean ran up and jumped to hug her. This caused Connell to fall backwards, landing on the ground and breaking her wrist. She, put it underneath her to try and stop the fall, and it broke her wrist, right? Instead of doing something rash, like accepting that Sean is 8 and it was a total accident, since the laws of physics are not clear to him yet, and kids are fucking, rambunctious and right, they're dumb. She did the rational thing. She filed a huge lawsuit against the nephew.
Against the nephew.
Yes.
What?
She sued an 8-year-old.
So I'm guessing she's basically suing the family because an 8-year-old has no actual legal assets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're suing the family. So maybe she thought maybe they're better off, and it's like this is a way of punishing them.
Yeah, maybe so. So she claimed in court that the boy had been careless, and she wanted $127,000 for emotional suffering and medical bills.
What the fuck, dude? His aunt sued him for $127,000. I mean, look, even if you wanted to sue somebody or were pissed off and were like, you need to pay my hospital bill, like a broken wrist is gonna be like maybe a couple. I mean, as fucked up it is in America, maybe a couple $1,000 someone. I mean, it shouldn't be shit personally, but even if you wanted to go that route, like, hey, please pay my medical bills because my wrist got broke.
She also claimed, as part of her emotional damage proof, one of the things she noted was she had recently attended a party, and her inability to hold out the hors d'oeuvres plate was distressing and embarrassing.
Wow. Yeah, someone made a good point. Suing the insurance. Yeah, so the homeowner's insurance would cover that if they had liability insurance. So you're probably right. It was probably just a scheme to get that money.
You're probably right about that. But it is, whatever. It may very well have been just somebody being really fucking stupid. So there. Let's go on to the next one. Let's talk about the next one here. I remember hearing about this. This next one. So way back in the olden golden days of 1991, one of the pinnacles of ridiculous lawsuits ever attempted is the one filed by one Richard Overton. He filed a suit claiming that Anheuser-Busch's advertisements of far-off tropical islands, where the average American was surrounded by bikini models who were actually attracted to them because they drank Bud, were misleading.
No shit.
What woman doesn't love it when her man is pounding beer all day long, right?
Right.
It's one of the things women look for in a man. Just being a cheap beer guzzler,
That's an ideal. I mean, and especially like, I like this guy. Like, I wasn't suddenly transported to a tropical paradise surrounded by beautiful women who wanted to sleep with me. Therefore,
right.
Pay me.
Wonderful, right? So he drank all the Bud that he could, and he noticed that he was still in his garage, sitting in a shitty old fucking lounge chair. He was not on a tropical island, okay?
Important.
And there wasn't a hot model anywhere near him. So he decided, I'm going to file a lawsuit against the beer giant, claiming that their advertisements of men and women, men and beautiful women engaged in endless and unrestricted merriment turned out to be untrue and caused him not only emotional distress and mental injury, but also financial loss.
What? And he lost money because he wasn't transported to the island?
Yeah. The case was dismissed. However, there was one model, a model idiot.
That is true. Dude, I don't get where these people fucking get off on this shit, dude. Like, this dude knows there's no... I mean, like, unless it's just, like, a pure cry for attention, I mean, he knows he's full of shit. He's really think Budweiser's going to lose. It's like, look, it's an advertisement. If you don't know anything about advertising, it's like, you know what it does? It sells you, like, an idealized version of that product. But no, I mean... Never did that. But Budweiser say, by drinking Budweiser, you will go to this island and you will be with these people and you'll be doing these things. The only claims they make about such products are it's smooth and crisp and tastes good. That's about it.
So this next one happened in 1995. This Virginian prison inmate named Robert Lee Brock was determined to prove his innocence. While he couldn't trade places with the man, he could at least seek restitution. Brock filed charges stating that his religious beliefs had been violated and he felt entitled to $5 million. The defendant in the case, Robert Lee Brock himself. He filed a lawsuit against himself. Of course, since he was in prison, the state would have to pay for the proceedings. And they did. Brock brought this to trial and argued that his handwritten 7-page lawsuit, in his handwritten 7-page lawsuit, that he partook of alcoholic beverages in 1993, violating his religious and civil rights by getting himself so drunk that he would be suggestible to breaking the law.
So he's suing his past self for decisions he made.
Yes.
Because he drank alcohol, and this had to be heard by a judge, and the state had to pay for it.
Yes.
It should have been dismissed immediately. This is fucking ridiculous. This is like, hey, you know what? I made a bad financial, like, it's like those people that bought like a bunch of stock or cryptocurrency right before the crash. I'm gonna go sue myself for buying a bunch of Bitcoin when it was $60,000 a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like what? What the? I don't know how could you possibly sue yourself for something you did in the past? You did it. Like I don't understand who. Like you're the one culpable. Like okay.
Well, the judge apparently loved it because the judge actually gave him credit in his ruling for the innovative approach to civil rights litigation. He couldn't find any civil rights litigation where that had happened before, that somebody argued that they had violated their own civil rights. And so he told the guy, you know, I really think that's creative, case dismissed. You know what I mean? So, and the state got to eat the whole bill for the whole proceedings, of course.
Yeah, so basically the fucking judge got a chuckle, and they got a fucking story for all the other judges when they're fucking playing golf. Like, remember that guy that sued himself? That was a good one.
I almost wanted to let him out on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So goddamn creative.
It was creative. You gotta give the guy that.
Yeah, for sure. This next one.
Zeus?
Yes. Apparently God saw what magicians were doing, and this made God angry. In 2005, God, or as he's known to everybody else in the real world, Christopher Roller, filed suit against illusionists David Blaine and David Copperfield. David and David. David Blaine, if you don't remember, street magician guy, used to do those little things where he'd go out and perform magic tricks for people and like walking around the street.
Yeah, sit in a box for like 8 years or whatever.
Yeah, and then he started doing like dude, I saw his recent one, not to get too off topic, but his most recent one was he like flew with balloons. Like he hooked himself up to these like huge helium balloons and flew around, you know, way up in the sky with the balloons, and then let himself go and like parachuted to safety. That was his latest thing. But yeah, now he does that, these extreme stunts. And David Copperfield, I don't even know if does David Copperfield still work? Is he still in Vegas?
I've seen his show in Las Vegas. I was actually at the very front row. And I'll be honest with you, it's a pretty interesting show.
Yeah, I saw his show too.
Little hammy at parts, but you know, I mean, it's still a good show. He's still a good magician. I believe he's still doing it though.
That's cool. He's got to be getting up there in years though, because he was.
Oh yeah.
He was like middle aged when I saw him, and I was a teenager when I saw him. So he's got to be getting up there. Because now I'm middle aged. The tricksters were stealing his power, according to him. He had godlike powers, and since he was God, the tricksters were infringing on his exclusive right to do magical miracles, basically. And as recompense, God wanted 10% of their lifetime earnings, which he did the math himself, came out to $50 million plus court fees. So saith the Lord.
I mean, well, look, it's God. So if it's a God, that should be enforceable by the God themselves. Like if David Copperfield and David Blaine go, I'm not paying, all right, or even if the court disagrees, the court says, you know, God, we're sorry, but there's nothing we can do. I mean, smite them then. Like, okay. David Blaine, you're gonna give me fucking 25 mil. If you don't,
I'm gonna fucking hit you with the lightning.
Yeah, you throw down the thunder and you take the money. I mean, you're God. Why does God need to sue? I mean, like I guess God was being nice. It was like, oh, I'm gonna sue you. I could smite you, but I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the ultimate way to enforce it, right?
One would think. So a very brave atheist judge dismissed the case outright.
No, what?
And for some reason, the two Davids' plans to absorb God's powers and profit off of them continue to this day, as far as I'm concerned. So,
yeah, you know what, Paul? I mean, look, America has become more atheistic. World as general, I've heard a lot of places that's happening. So it's like, I mean,
dude, the less belief there is in God, the less powerful he is. Maybe that's all he can do now is sue.
Damn. I feel bad for God now. I mean, like, he used to have this whole big racket. Now he's going to sue two magicians.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And lose.
It's our turn. Yeah, and lose, too. It's like God lost. Like, well, he said it was an atheist judge. It's like, I don't really believe in you. I'm sorry. You're going to have to.
So, keeping it in the God category for our next one. In 2002, a guy named Doug Baker was driving when he claims that God steered him towards this stray dog. Baker admitted that people thought it was ridiculous, crazy even, especially when he dropped $4,000 on the dog's vet bills. I mean, if it's God's dog, you probably want to do what you can.
Yeah,
I imagine. Baker and the dog became inseparable, so enamored with the mutt that he couldn't leave him. Not even to take his girlfriend out to dinner without someone to watch over the divine dog. He hired a sitter for the dog, and his girlfriend finally got to go out on what I'm sure was a very nice date.
Finally. Yeah, I mean, like, it sounds like a guy that's kind of a little too attached to his dog. I mean, it is a divine dog, though, so it's a little bit different.
Yep. The babysitter, unfortunately, not so much. Not such a good evening. While Baker may have been a tad over-attached to his miracle dog, the feeling was not mutual. As soon as he could, the mutt ran off. Just bolted. He's like, fuck this. The sitter looked everywhere. Went all around the neighborhood, all through the woods and shit. But she found nothing. Baker returned home, and his heart was broken. While his girlfriend still cared for him at the time anyway, Baker felt forsaken. And he knew he must find this dog. So he claims he spent months looking for God's dog. He searched the entire city and those surrounding it. Took out a full-page color advertisement seeking the dog. He would even urinate in different locations to leave his scent so his four-legged soulmate could find his way home.
Oh.
Clearly the dog didn't want to come home. No. Finally, after 4 long months, his girlfriend had left him during all of this, obviously, because he's going out of his fucking mind. His business fell into tatters, and he spent thousands of dollars in his own money. He found the dog. He did 2 things right away. Bought the dog a collar, and he filed a lawsuit against the dog sitter for $160,000.
That makes sense.
$20,000 for the cost of the search, $30,000 for income lost, and $10,000 for the loss of the dog's special value. And of course, the emotional toll was worth $100,000.
Easy.
$160K. Case dismissed.
What? She let the dog out. She let God's dog just run off.
She
did. This guy, and I mean, this guy of his own volition decided to engage in this like psychotic frantic search for this animal, and like basically forsake everything else in his life, his relationship, his business, anything besides finding this animal.
Yep.
But I mean, it was God's dog though. I mean, that's crazy. This religion stuff has been swinging and missing. It's like, I mean, if it's God's dog though, personally, I'm going to assume the dog is with God at that point. Like, it's like, this is a divine dog. And if the dog's not there, where else is it going to be?
Who knows?
Right? I mean, the dog just gets pulled up to heaven, right?
One would think, yeah. So let's talk about this next one.
His pants got sued?
This is the most expensive pair of pants ever, apparently, is what we're going to talk about here.
Whoa. All right.
Roy L. Pearson was a proud man. He'd just been awarded a position of honor amongst his field. Pearson was to sit on the bench as an administrative judge.
Ah.
He was starting his new job soon. He went out and bought a nice suit that fit him really well, except that the pants needed to be hemmed a little bit. They were a little long, needed some hem work. So he took them to a local dry cleaner and seamstress to have them altered. When he returned to pick them up, a storm cloud loomed overhead. The pants, Scotty, were missing. Now, on the first pass, Pearson demands $1,150. Cost of the entire suit.
Fuck.
Second pass, he comes back, and now he's demanding $3,500.
For what?
I guess the pain and stress of having to buy another suit, because the suit was perfect, Scotty, except for that one hem.
One hem wrong.
Yep.
Right.
However, owner of the cleaners, a family named the Chungs, countered with $3,000. Just go away. $3,000. We'll give you $3,000. Just go away, because he just bothered him constantly about it. But that was what he was waiting for. He smelled blood in the water, and he pushed him further, bumping it to $4,000, then $4,600, then $12,000 was demanded. And by the time the case made it into court, Pearson was humbly asking for $67 million.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Wait a minute. So, like he said, first he's like, I want the cost of the suit. Then it's like, I want like $3,000. Then I want $4,000. Then I want 60. Somewhere along the line, it's 67 million fucking dollars. Okay, this guy shouldn't be a judge. This part of this fucker.
No, not at all. So Pearson, like I said, was asking $67 million. The file included our old friend emotional damages, legal fees. He represented himself, so he wanted himself paid at his rate. 10 years of car rental fees since he had to drive to another dry cleaner, and the value of the missing pants, $395.
He wanted car rental fees to drive. It's like, he's a judge. He's definitely got a fucking car. He doesn't have to. And like, there's dry cleaners that'll pick your shit up if you have enough stuff. So I'm not really seeing his fucking point.
Not only did this one has actually a good ending, a really satisfying ending, more satisfying than just dismiss. Not only did they dismiss the case,
of course,
but he had to pay the defendants legal fees, so he ended up having to pay them.
Ooh.
And a judicial panel reviewed the case and recommended that he not receive his 10-year bench term.
What a fucking idiot, dude.
So he fucked himself out of being a judge for this stupid shit.
No, he deserves it, dude. I'm glad. I mean, to take something that fucking far with somebody over a fucking pair of pants, like, I get like, hey, give me a new pair of pants. And if they'd asked for that and they refused, then sure, be a dick about it. But
there's some stubborn fucking pricks out there, Scotty.
Dude, there are, man. Because that dude didn't even yield. Then he came up with like ridiculous shit because he's a lawyer. He's like, oh, well, I'm gonna have to rent a car. So it's gonna take you time to go rent the car, drive it to another dry cleaners, drop it off, keep the rental car, wait, then go. It's like, what the fuck is
$67 million?
And then to get to that fucking level, dude. See, it's like this is the shit that's like, why don't they talk about this? We're talking about frivolous lawsuits. Well, like, I mean, I do remember this media story now you're talking about it, but it's like, this is when you talk about frivolous lawsuits, talk about shit like this. Don't talk about the fucking woman that burned her fucking pussy off, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Well, this next one is pretty ridiculous too. So back in 2006, there was a man named Alan Heckard, pictured here, and he was suffering beyond measure. Scotty, beyond measure.
Wow. I think I know why.
To the point he had to hide from the public. He couldn't go to his favorite places anymore. He would just get mobbed, Scotty. And when he tried to play a simple game of pickup basketball at the park, people gathered around from miles around and stared. Why? Because he believes he looks exactly like Michael Jordan. He really doesn't look anything like Michael Jordan. I mean, they're both black dudes. That's about as far as it goes. But he wore an earring in his ear, like Jordan did for a long time. One earring in his left ear. He kept a goatee, and he kept his head shaved bald. And he claimed that because of Michael Jordan's presence and the constant, "Are you Michael Jordan? Can I get an autograph? Can I blah, 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 blah," that he was due some money. How much money do you think he was due for that, Scotty?
Oh, this guy. Oh, my fucking God. Knowing this is frivolous lawsuits, I think he wants $100 million.
He figured about 416 million would clear it up.
Sad with my 100 million. With my 100 million figures, like only 100 mil. Like I think I'm going big in my mind. You're like, this guy wants 416. I mean, look, and I'll give him this. He vaguely looks like Michael Jordan. Vaguely, like maybe he's the same height or something. Because like it's not really so much the face. So I'm guessing maybe he's really tall too. That's why people are maybe like, oh, he's Michael Jordan.
That's what he claims. But he is 8 years older than Jordan. He's 30 pounds lighter and 6 inches shorter.
Okay, no, fuck him, dude. He's like Michael Jordan's like 6'6". Okay, this dude's like 6 feet tall. He's older. It's like
all I could find was this really crappy old picture. You know what I mean? But I can just tell you that the two men in these two pictures, pixelated and granulated as they are by time, look nothing alike. I would never see the dude on the right and go like, "Oh my fucking God, it's Michael Jordan." Never.
Oh yeah, dude. And especially when you mention the height shit, because like if he was the same height as Jordan or something, like then I could maybe see like, okay, he's a really tall dude, and he's just going around making this claim. Maybe like a couple people approached him, so he's like, "Yeah, I got this idea for this thing. The scam I can run."
Yep.
But I mean, I was fucking see what he just.
I wish I could tell you he stopped there, Scotty.
Okay.
But he didn't. He brings this lawsuit against Michael Jordan's estate, right? Or Michael Jordan's whatever, his management. Asked for $416 million. They start hand waving him because they know that no judge is going to fucking listen to this. But he continues with the legal process. And because he felt disrespected in the way that they dealt with him, he added Nike to the lawsuit too. Michael Jordan wears your fucking shoes and it ruined my life. And the asking price went up to $800 million, Scotty. $800 million now that Nike was added.
So this dude just hoping. I think honest, and you got to be honest with these people. Like this guy is hoping beyond like his wildest dreams. Like if I pull this shit off, I mean, obviously he doesn't think he's gonna get $800 million. There's no way Michael Jordan or a giant corporation is ever gonna give this guy that kind of money.
Not a chance.
Maybe he'll get like $50,000 just to go away.
He didn't even get that. And this case was never even dismissed because he eventually just dropped it because presumably he probably couldn't afford to continue going forward with it, which is probably for the best. So nobody got paid anything for this. In fact, he paid for it.
He probably went to some lawyers and they probably were like, okay, if this guy will lose interest, they probably bilked him out of about 20 or 30 grand. And it's like, so am I gonna well, you want to sue Michael Jordan and Nike? Okay, well, to go to trial, you're gonna need like $1 million. Do you have $1 million? No. Well, I'm sorry, you ain't gonna go to no trial then.
Oops.
Like, why would you target like a giant corporation and one of the most visible fucking famous people in America? It's like, dude, are you out of your fucking mind?
And if you're gonna do it, this is not D-Way. You know what I mean? Like there had to be something better because like you look nothing like Michael Jordan, bro. And nobody is walking up to a dude that's like half a foot shorter than Michael Jordan and asking
Michael Jordan, MJ. So shit, Dexter.
You remember this poster for Dexter?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this image, this promotional image of Dexter, and I'll show it to the fans here too. This cellophane over Dexter's, I believe it was the season 8 Dexter.
Yeah, the end begins. Like I believe you're right. I believe this is the last season of Dexter.
So in 2014, apparently when this season was coming out, a New York woman was walking around and she saw this poster. And it apparently scared her so bad that she almost passed out. She had to lay down in the street. So she sued Showtime, CBS Outdoor Americas, the City of New York, and 2 transit authorities for an injury she sustained in a fall triggered by that scary poster. The woman claimed she was on a staircase in Grand Central Terminal when she spotted the ad for the TV show Dexter. This ad here, picture of Michael C. Hall, who plays the serial killer, with his face covered in cellophane.
Right.
The woman alleged that the image was a shock-vertisement that was so disturbing it caused her to trip and fall down the stairs. She claimed the defendants were liable for all her injuries to her right foot and ankle.
Dude, it's like saying you saw like a fucking a Jaws poster, and then you could never go in the water again. Well,
Right.
you know, and I've legit heard people say that too. They've seen Jaws, and I couldn't go in the ocean again because I was just so scared.
Of course.
Even if it's irrational, maybe Jaws is there. It's like Dexter is a fictional character. This is portrayed by an actor, and you just you fucking fell down some stairs because you either did it on purpose or you're a fucking klutz. And I hate to break it to you, Showtime ain't paying you $1 million in pain and suffering.
No. The defendants argued that they had no duty to protect the woman from an ad. Her reaction to it was unforeseeable, and that they weren't responsible for her fall. The judge ultimately agreed with the defendants and dismissed the case based on the woman's failure to present a cause of action. So
yeah, like how did the poster itself cause it? Like, even if the poster did cause it, you'd have to argue that it was the people who displayed the poster, not even necessarily Showtime, because they have
well,
no
that's
control.
part of who she sued. She sued Showtime. Right. CBS Outdoor Americas is the company that put up the posters.
Of course, yeah. So she has to, but I mean, like, you know, there's millions of people that, and actually billions of people that go buy advertisements every day, and they don't get injured by them. So you'd have to show the actual cause of that. Like, did the advertisement actually fall on you and you felt like, no, the billboard or some shit fell on her or something? Yeah, I could see that. But it's like you saw it and you got. I mean, look, she actually. I mean, I guess I could see someone if they're just spacing out, they get surprised by something and they go, ah, but it's not still your fault.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is not inherently shocking. Like, if it was something like a woman's guts pouring out or somebody puking blood or some shit, like, I'm pretty sure that there are rules governing what kind of shit can be hung on city property and stuff like that.
And if you've seen the show Dexter too, I mean, this is not uncommon. Like when he has people on his table and he's about to stab them to death, like they'll be all wrapped up in like cellophane and shit.
Sure. So yeah, that one unfortunately went nowhere. Here's
Reese's.
Good old Reese's Pieces, man. Everybody loves
Reese's.
them.
It's Reese's, TJ. Hey, TJ, you want some Reese's?
Everyone loves a Reese's. Now this one, I'm gonna say, Scotty, and I have no comment beyond this. It starts with a Missouri man.
Oh.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. A certain individual.
An individual in Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri.
Attempted to initiate a class action lawsuit against the Hershey Company, claiming that the boxes and boxes of Reese's Pieces and Whoppers candies that he'd purchased contained too much air.
How did he deliver the I'm sorry, I revealed the joke I was going to make. How did he reveal the lawsuit to them? Did he stick a dagger in their door?
Yeah. He put an ornate dagger in the door of the Reese's Company. Yes, Hershey.
Went to Hershey's, Pennsylvania place, and they.
Yep. The man had been buying the candies, quote, for at least a decade.
Oh my God. A certain individual bought some candy and too much air in that candy. Right. You know what? I've never thought about it that way. Yep. How much air is in that bag?
Yep. You're just buying fucking useless air, man. So he filed a lawsuit claiming that Hershey had violated Missouri's consumer protection law, and he also accused the company of unjust enrichment. The judge dismissed the case, contending that the plaintiff had failed to prove he'd been injured. The plaintiff also failed to prove that Hershey had obtained any unfair benefit. Hershey was able to demonstrate that, like, the amount of, quote, air in their packages of Reese's hadn't changed over the 10 years he claimed to be a customer. So,
yeah, it's like there's some. I mean, like, if they shrink the total amount of product they're giving you, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like someone that experienced shrinkflation. Which is like they keep the price the same, they just give you less. Which that happens in a lot of products. Like when I was a kid, for example, I know you hate this product, Paul, but Smarties. Smarties were like this if you bought them in a pack. Now Smarties are like this. They just shrink the size of the packaging to keep the price the same. So
Sure.
if you want to sue him for that, that's what he could have sued them for. But I think that this individual's warped mind, probably from just laying on their stomach all day, I would guess. They didn't realize what was going on, so they thought there was more air in it. Like, there's more air in the package. Like, no. And
I've
not to
been
mention,
buying boxes and boxes of Whoppers and Reese's Pieces since forever, and there's way more air in these in a situation.
I can't believe he didn't win.
He didn't win. Yeah, it's shocking that
Poor guy.
didn't work out for him. This one, I kind of remember this one being in the news because it wasn't that long ago. In 2016, an Illinois man sued Starbucks for misrepresenting the amount of liquid contained in their cold drinks. The man alleged that Starbucks cheated customers by adding ice to cold beverages, thereby reducing the amount of liquid contained in the cups.
Airtight. How can they even argue? I want a cold drink. Well, how do I make a cold? We'll put some ice in it. You deprived me of a drink.
Yep. His suit sought damages for numerous offenses, including fraud, breach of express warranty, unjust enrichment, and violation of various state and consumer protection laws.
Well, he won clearly. I mean, this guy. I mean, look, there's ice in the drink, Paul. How can you argue with the guy?
This got all the way to a federal judge before it was dismissed.
He made it a federal case. That's great.
Determining that the plaintiff had failed to prove Starbucks advertising was deceptive, the judge agreed with Starbucks' argument that a reasonable customer who orders an iced drink expects the drink to contain both liquid and ice.
One would think.
So there you go.
And not to mention, you can order that dude. Here's a way to defeat his argument. You can order those drinks without ice if you so choose, and they will still make you the drink. Yeah, obviously, ice does take up some of the space, but if you want the drink to be cold when you drink it, that's one of the few ways you can do it. Now, you can also chill drinks. That is possible, but Starbucks isn't doing that.
You can you can ask them to go easy on the ice if you want, and that's always been a thing at Starbucks. Easy ice.
I've seen people do it. I know, like Taylor isn't a big fan of ice, so she gets less ice, and guess what? She gets more of the drink. But you know what? It's not as cold. It's not as cold as if you got more ice. Shocking.
Right.
Crazy how that works.
So this one's kind of funny.
TJ's dead. We're asking what happened to TJ.
Yeah, TJ unfortunately is dead. He exploded spontaneously. Nobody knows what happened. They're still picking up pieces of him. Okay, we don't want to talk about it.
I'm going with the one bonbon theory, but that's just a theory.
One bonbon too many is the final bonbon.
Yeah, the final bonbon did him in.
So everyone knows that casinos will gladly take as much money from you as you care to play with.
Of course.
But one gambler felt like his rights were violated after one particularly unlucky night. A man named Mark Johnston from California was in Las Vegas, and he was high rolling. And one night he lost $500,000 playing at the casino. His basis for the lawsuit against the casino, he said he was too drunk to responsibly gamble, making his losses the casino's fault.
Nice try, bro. I mean, really? They gave me drinks. I'm sure that's his argument. Because if everyone's been to a casino, you know they come around, they give you free drinks.
Sure, if you're gambling, they'll give you
if
a
you're
free
gambling,
drink. Yeah.
If you're provided you're gambling. If you're sitting around, they're not going to give you shit.
And they certainly ply you with alcohol and like loosen you up. That's why they offer the drinks. It's like not only like are people attracted to the idea of free drinks, but it loosens you up. But this is just well known. This is just part of going to a casino. Is you could lose some money. You could get drunk and make a stupid bet. So you got to be smart.
Yep. Of course.
This one never came to trial because in a twist, it turned out that the man himself had actually ripped the casino off for $500,000 and then gambled it back to them because he wrote a bunch of phony checks to borrow money to gamble to them. So
what? What?
Don't ask me, man.
What? Dude, so he already did his scam already worked. Like, why did he go get dude, this is like one of those people that fucking is totally victorious, but just like fucking grabs defeat from the jaws of fucking victory in order to fucking go like, I can double it, I can triple it. It's
Yeah.
like, you already ripped them off. Get the fuck out of there, you fucking moron.
So that revelation led the downtown Grand Casino to countersue him, and a warrant was issued for his arrest, and he was found guilty of fraud and sent to prison.
Good job, bro.
So there you go. That's a great one.
I love how he sues about his crime too. He literally sued someone over a fucking crime he committed.
Yep.
Okay.
So this one's a little weird. Fugitives are known to do some desperate things to stay out of jail, but Jesse Dimmick pulled one shameless move after he got caught for a crime in 2009.
Right.
He was on the lam for a murder charge in Kansas when he broke into a couple's home and held them at knife point. When the couple got away from him while he slept, they told police where he was, and Dimmick was caught. They just, he was still asleep when they showed up. So a real winner. Dimmick sued the couple because he said they'd made a legally binding oral agreement that they would help him stay free in return for money. So he sued them.
Yeah, I'm sure even if they said that, it was under duress. Like you had them at knife or gunpoint. It's like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, but you know what? I'll give you guys money if you help me. Yeah, sure, buddy. We'll help you. Yeah, just go to sleep. You're tired. Like why would someone do that? Because even if they were to admit to that, like, yes, that was the arrangement, they'd be guilty of harboring a fugitive.
Right.
So they're not going to say that. Even if that was true, they would never admit it.
So yeah, pretty fucking ridiculous. Let's see. This is a good one. Oh shit, that's huge. Fart.
Yeah, we had the same thought.
Fart.
And it's SpongeBob. A SpongeBob fart.
And of course, this one happened in the land down under. So a 56-year-old man sued his former employer because he said he was forced to put up with his ex-boss who would allegedly fart around him constantly.
That's fucked up.
David Hinks called his former supervisor's behavior bullying and sought about $1.3 million in damage. Hinks said the boss would come into his small windowless office. His small windowless office.
Had beans last night.
And fart at least 5 times a day and then run away laughing.
Dude. I mean, like, there's ways to get him back. Like, I cannot believe he went to the legal system. Just like, I'm going to get this. I mean, like, I'm sure it was because he was an employee-boss relationship, so he figured maybe there could be some angle.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
Dude, you just eat the nastiest, most farty shit, and you just go to your boss office and just start ripping fucking farts left and right. I mean, just do that a couple times. Your boss ain't going to do it anymore. Just fucking go and fart up his office. Or if you don't want to do that, buy fart spray. There's shit that makes it smell just like the most disgusting, nasty-ass, wet fucking fart you've ever smelled in your life. Because I've smelled it before. It's been sprayed in my fucking house before.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
It smells worse, dude. It's like the worst fart you ever smelled.
Yeah. So if you want to get someone back like that, do that to that motherfucker one time. I guarantee he would have dropped his jokes. He'd been like, fuck that. I don't want to smell that shit anymore. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, nobody wants to fucking sit in my stink either.
Yeah, fuck that, bro.
Judge in Australia dismissed this lawsuit in 2019, saying they didn't think flatulence could be defined in and of itself as bullying. And that's really all he accused the guy of doing was farting, which is something that, everybody farts. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and it's like, you didn't rip one in the office. I mean, so yeah, because think about the guy's logic. So imagine he goes, like, I don't know what they eat in Australia. I mean, like, I'm sure they eat
kangaroo and iguana and
a pile of beans, dude. So he has that. He has some kangaroo and some beans for lunch, and he's just like, oh man, that was some good kangaroo and beans. What's he gonna be doing in the office when he gets back? He's gonna be going. He's gonna be ripping some farts, right? Can he sue himself too? It can be like that guy. Like, you know what? This boss, because they don't have access to fresh air, has created an unsafe workplace for me. Therefore, I need to sue them because I've had to smell my own farts. Oh my God, what a fucking crime against me.
That would have been better, I think, actually. It might have got it
better.
Yeah, the improper ventilation of my office, I had to sit and smell my own farts all day.
Oh, I'm fucking choking. Like, shouldn't you have done that instead? Shouldn't your fucking issue have been like, you're in a fucking cubicle, windowless, shitty office, and you should have said, like, hey, you know what? Give me a fucking window or something. Like, give me some fresh air.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. Don't be attacked. What, are they going after McDonald's again now?
Look at that, Scotty. That's a beautiful double quarter pounder with cheese.
Thing right there. Oh man, I want to reach out and touch that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby.
I always get when I go to McDonald's, dude. I don't even care about the fries. Give me the double fucking quarter pounder. That's all I want. That's all I want.
So, a miffed couple filed a lawsuit over the fact that the burger chain charges as much for a quarter pounder with cheese as it does for one with no cheese. The angry eater said they ordered the burger with no cheese and were shocked to see the price was the same. How much do you think they wanted in damages, Scotty? How much would you feel damaged if...
I walk in and for some reason, like, I guess I had dropped my head as a child or something where I'm like, I want a hamburger with no cheese. Because that's, to me, is like a sin. Like, I want the cheese on it for sure.
Of course.
But let's say, I ate too many lead paint chips as a child or something. And I'm like, I want it. So I go, no, I want, can't have it? Okay, I'll go to my lawyer. $10 million.
You're actually overshooting it this time. They wanted a humble $5 million.
Only $5 million.
Just a humble little $5 million. This was tossed out by a Florida judge. He found that the couple couldn't prove how they were harmed by the additional charge that they alleged.
Yeah.
So,
like, I don't get it. Well, because they assumed for some reason that it would change the price, and it didn't. Like, no, the price is the fucking same. You're just gonna pay the price. Like, the price listed on the menu is the price listed on the menu.
Right.
So they might charge you more to add it, but then what order they say, oh, if you don't get it, we'll take a charge off of it.
That's
now,
like
some places
claiming,
will do that.
And it comes down to it too, because this is how it's sold. Like the way this picture, I mean, it's not like, it usually doesn't look this good. It's usually pretty, but like this is what it comes with. Comes with onions, mustard, ketchup, pickles, 2 patties, each with a slice of cheese on and 1 cheese on the bottom. That's how it comes. It's a cheesy sandwich.
Yeah, 3 slices of cheese.
So that would be like saying, oh, I want this, but with no pickles, and then suing them because they didn't downcharge me for the pickle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You ordered it the way you wanted. The price stays the same, which is like, I don't get, like, some people, it's weird. It's like in their brains, it somehow makes sense. Like there's some logical, like, okay, because I didn't want the cheese, they're saving money, but by them saving money, that the savings should be passed on to me. It's like, no, that's just more profit for them. That's how that works.
Right.
Like, that's how business works. They're not going to be like, oh, you didn't have cheese on that? Let's take 10 cents off. Like, no, the price on the menu is what you pay. That's it. Duh.
Yeah, and some people, I guess, they got to take it all the way to a lawsuit to figure out that they're stupid.
Wait a minute. Starting up, fuck off. Cheese is not food. What the fuck are you talking about? Cheese is food.
Bruh.
It's one of the most delicious foods around.
Especially on a burger, man. Like a burger is a cheesy, meaty pile of fucking cholesterol goodness. That's what a burger is, man. It's not just a wad of meat on a bun. You know?
How? Yeah, you gotta have the toppings and shit. I mean, like, yeah, the meat's good and everything.
The cheese is like the glue that holds it all together. You know what I mean? The ooziness.
Especially the cheese is perfectly melted over the fucking patty.
Yep, and it's the only way, in my opinion, that American cheese is even good, is melted over a burger.
It's gotta be. That's the only advantage of American cheese.
Yeah, it's actually better on a burger than most other cheeses. There's some other cheeses that are good on a burger, but I'm telling you, like a fucking perfectly melted slice of American cheese on a burger, can't beat that shit.
No, I agree with you on
that. Keep it simple. So I got one last one here for us to take a look at. I guess Michael Jordan invoked again. This one is absolutely absurd. So this guy, Sir Giorgio Sanford Clardy, that's his name. He claimed that Nike should have warned him that his Air Jordans were a dangerous weapon in disguise.
What?
Clardy was given a 100-year prison sentence after horrifically stomping on the face of a man outside of a Portland motel.
Right.
The victim required extensive surgery, and his nose was basically pulverized and had to be rebuilt. He was just horribly. That's why they gave him a 100-year sentence, because he had priors and blah, 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 blah. He was going to be in jail forever. He was a danger. So
But
he claimed that Nike should have put a warning on their shoes that if you stomp somebody's face, you're going to do a lot of damage to them.
Wow. Yeah. Right. It's like when you're born, your fish should come with a warning that if you punch someone over and over again, you could hurt them or kill them.
Right.
I'm gonna sue my mom actually because of that. Like my mom didn't tell me like, if you stomp someone's fucking face in, their face is gonna cave in. Did you think people are made of like adamantium and nothing will happen but then you put the magical shoe on and that's what breaks them?
Yeah, I didn't think he was gonna hurt him as bad, but those fucking Nike Air Jordans, man. They just did so much damage. I was shocked myself when I stopped stomping him.
Don't fucking wear some Yeezys, man. You don't even know what those bitches do, man. You don't even want to know, Paul.
I can't even imagine.
Don't even get fucking started on that, man.
Deadly.
That could be world ending, dude. You might fucking cause an earthquake if you fucking just slam on the ground.
Fuck,
don't do it.
man.
Don't do it. If you got Yeezys, please don't do it.
I have no Yeezys, unfortunately, for me.
Me either. I ain't got that kind of cash, but if I did, I wouldn't want to stomp them because you may cause a natural disaster if you do.
The judge denied Clardy a free attorney because it was a civil lawsuit, so you don't get free representation for civil suits. Eventually, the judge also had asked Clardy to be quiet so that he could make a judgment. Although Nike obviously won the case, records show that they did have to spend $1,400 in court fees, so nothing went to him, but poor Nike was out $1,400 because this idiot stomped some dude's face with one of his shoes.
Oh my God. You imagine being part of Nike's legal team? Like, so a guy is suing us in Oregon because Nike's based in Oregon too. So I'm sure that's why he did it, because he could file in state court against them.
Yep.
Hey, this guy claims that he almost murdered someone because of our product. Like, okay, I guess we'll fucking spend some money on this. That's just being a big corporation. Like, people don't realize that shit. If there is one of the few disadvantages of being a giant company, it's that you're going to get sued for 1,000,001 stupid fucking things, which is why if you click on agreements or you do like, you have TOS, it's always like, like it used to be like, okay, you have to sue us in California or wherever they're based, but now it's like mandatory arbitration. It's for shit like this. It's try to cut down on people suing them for bullshit reasons. And of course, what sucks though is because if you do have a legitimate reason, like let's say this product, somehow fell apart while you're walking and you got injured and it actually was Nike's fault, then you have a very hard time suing them because you agreed to mandatory arbitration with them.
Right. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's the last ridiculous lawsuit that I've got for you tonight. There's tons more of these. I just kind of picked the ones that stood out immediately and made me chuckle a little bit, but I didn't even get through a lot of the lists that I pulled this from. Like,
oh wow,
they're just endless, stupid lawsuits that people have filed that you can read about. So if you guys ended up liking this, let me know in the patron comment section or on the comments of the video.
Definitely a good episode. I definitely like to hear some more of them. It's really just the tales and the weird people behind these things.
Yeah, it really isn't. It's not about the lawsuit so much as it's about the crazy people that filed them. You know what I mean? And how deluded some people can be. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.